we did finally get, I will say, the debut of one Hikuleo and the returning Tongaloa. Your favorite. I know you were anticipating that one, but Hikuleo is finally here in WWE. We got a new United States champion. The match itself was solid. I actually have no issue. I saw some outrage online over Jacob Fatu already losing the United States Championship after only having held it for like 2 months. I really don't think this is that big of a deal. You give Solo something to do for now. Not super enamored with that, but it's better than nothing. But you get Solo Sikoa as the United States champion. Hikuleo finally in the fold, and Jacob Fatu's got to find some friends. So what were your thoughts on that development?
I went nuts. I mean, when Tonga Loa came out, I didn't even know who it was at first. He had the hood on. Thought maybe it was Jim, Big Jim. I was stunned. And then
Yeah.
Tonga Loa, the crowd went nuts. I mean,
Yep.
probably one of the bigger pops of the night. Hikuleo, I mean, did a choke slam. It looked pretty decent, I guess. So I guess we'll see where it goes from there. But Solo winning, I feel like you said I didn't have a problem with it. I feel like keep him busy. Jacob doesn't really need the title.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they'll build that going forward. So I thought it was a decent match. Love Tongaloa's back. But yeah, I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah, I thought it was a perfectly fine match for what it was. I guess Hikuleo, I should say, is now known as Talatonga, because that was the name that they trademarked about a year ago. So I think that's what they're going with now, because I think they referred to him as that, not on the show itself. They didn't actually call him anything on the show itself. They didn't even call.
That's Tama Tonga and Tongaloa's brother. That's what he
Yeah,
said.
exactly. And
That's the referral.
no, he also said, oh, yeah, he was, wreaking havoc over in Japan. Okay, but what was his name over in Japan? Like, the weird thing is that they called Jeff Cobb when he debuted, and then they changed his name, which was fine, but they did call him Jeff Cobb. If you want to call him Talatonga, that's fine. But why not just introduce him as Hikuleo? It's not that big of a deal. It's not like the fucking Rock out there. No one's going to complain. He could be the next Rock, Hikuleo. Hey, listen, Rikishi keeps spawning kids. Guy, listen, Rikishi, we're protection, pal. Like, there's too many fucking Samoans running around here. There's way too many of them. Not all of them are related. Like, even Jeff Cobb isn't related to these guys, but they're throwing them on into the mix, which is funny. But anyway, where do you think this is going with these guys? I mean, Jacob Fatu loses the championship. The easy answer would be he gets the belt back by SummerSlam. You also have Damian Priest in the mix and a few other people that are gunning for that United States championship. We talked about Jimmy Uso, who you thought might be under the hood. It was not him. It was obviously Tongaloa. Is this leading to some sort of another War Games match? Because this isn't the Bloodline. This is the knockoff Bloodline. I know you guys can't see Mr. Marceau. I can see him. He's nodding his head aggressively yes here. Are we getting another Bloodline Civil War 2.0 come Survivor Series?
Yes. And I can't wait.
Okay, can we just talk about this real quick? They announced Survivor Series as bringing back War Games this year. This was another thing I wanted to discuss here today. And I'll go back to the chat in a moment. But we have War Games returning at Survivor Series this year. And it's not a shock because we've had it for the last 3 years. They brought it back actually at the Survivor Series that we went to in 2022. And it was great. And they've brought it back every year since then. It's been a staple of Survivor Series. And, some matches have been great. Some matches not so memorable. I think the women's ones specifically have largely felt forced and aren't as great, specifically when they have the weapons and the furniture, as you call it, and they're constantly using all this nonsense, and it's the same thing every single year. Are we officially at a point, let me ask you this, are we officially at a point where Survivor Series / War Games is reaching Hell in a Cell territory where we're just having it at the same time every year, and it doesn't feel remotely as special as it should?
Well, obviously, but I mean, at least the men, I feel like they've done a decent job of like making it make sense. The women, like you said, I feel like have kind of just been furniture matches. I mean, there's not really any real story. I mean, I think maybe the first they did with like damage control and stuff. Like, okay, I
Yeah,
get it.
that made sense.
This year, like we're probably like I said, do the bloodline. The women maybe be like Naomi. We'll have a group of people. Jade, like you said before. Maybe get some heels from Raw in there as well. But no, I mean, I think at this point it's kind of just a staple. I think this is what we're gonna get. I mean, it's a stadium show. You kind of got to use it to pack people in. So Survivor Series on its own is not gonna be interesting enough. So throw up the cages. Why not? Dust them off. It's November, and might as well have a War Games.
I understand that, and I mean, it is more bearable currently than Hell in a Cell was at the end of its run as a pay-per-view. But do you think, because a lot of people are also in defense of keeping War Games at Survivor Series, because Survivor Series on its own pre-War Games, I mean, the brand supremacy shit was fucking terrible, because it meant nothing. No one cared about Raw versus SmackDown. There were no stakes. I get it. But there's also not a whole lot of stakes in War Games either. I also just kind of feel like we've reached a point where it just, the TV becomes formulaic. I know we're in the middle of July. If we're building to a War Games match with Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa and those guys for November, that's not for another 4.5 months, dude. I mean, that's crazy. He's also nodding his head now. You guys can't see it. But, like, I just feel like it becomes, like, even last year, what we got with the Bloodline Civil War was fun. But it's almost like we have to do it in November. What if it makes more sense to do it in September or December or February or something along those lines? I just don't like the fact that we're pigeonholed to getting faction warfare every single fucking fall, specifically with the women, because the women's matches make no sense. Like, they just throw those matches together. And we even said last year, you can go back and check the fucking tapes. I think a lot of people said this. There's a lot of matches that would make more sense as, let me check my notes here, regular Survivor Series elimination matches and not necessarily War Games matches. I feel like if we just brought back the old Elimination Survivor Series matches, not everyone would be thrilled with it, but it would make the television shows less formulaic where we always have to be building around faction warfare.
Yeah, I think there's like a happy medium. Like you said, like maybe the one that actually makes sense, you throw in War Games. Then the other one you do like more of a traditional thing. Maybe like you said, add some stakes in there. Make it like if you're one of the sole survivors, there's something you can get from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like the War Games, but I don't think both women and men need it. I think it just should do it when it matters.
Yeah, exactly. I would only do it when it matters. It's not going to stop them from keeping it at Survivor Series regardless. We're getting it this November. It is what it is, so I'll just deal with it. I suppose it could be worse, like with the brand supremacy stuff. Because there's also, it's not even like I mentioned Solo and Jacob. We're probably going to get a War Games match, I would imagine, with the Rollins group. We have Rollins, Breaker, Reed, probably a fourth member by then, or you throw in a tag team to make it 5-on-5 or 4-on-4, whatever it might be. That's another match they could do because they have a whole bunch of enemies right now as well. I just don't like the fact that it has to be in November. Like, it would make more sense to do a War Games match with the Rollins crew and whatever at like fucking SummerSlam. Because like, how long can we deal with? And the match on Monday was great, but how long can we deal with tag team main events on Raw of Breaker and Reed versus Sammy and Penta, or Sammy and Jay, or Jay and Penta? It's like the same. It's like the Judgment Day shit of like 5 years ago, which got old after a few months because they were waiting until War Games to do the faction warfare bullshit when they could have just done it months earlier. So that is my problem with it. I love War Games. We've been to a couple War Games matches. It's great, but like, they got to stop feeling as forced. That's all I'm saying. I agree with you completely. I feel like they're good matches. They make the most of them. The women's matches are really the issue. I feel like the men's matches, like you said, are the ones that have made sense. The women's matches, especially now that we don't have women's factions really anymore. What women's factions do we even have? We had PFC. That's gone. Damage Control is no more. Do we have any women's factions left?
Well, Judgment, I mean, I guess Rhea, Raquel, and Liv, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Or Rhea, no, Raquel, Roxanne, and Liv, I guess you would say.
True.
But besides that, there really isn't any.
Yeah. They got rid of all of them.